there is a very high energy to this festival, and there's something intense and relaxed about it at the same time. It's strange, but it sort of works that way, and I think it's very exciting. The movies they choose so well, the films. It's a lot of fun, and of course the Canadian people are really nice and lovely.
For me, I was given the book in college, and I hadn't really looked through it. I met a girl in my apartment building. I just moved out from home, and we wound up reading this book one night, and the longer I read it, the more I just sort of had this enormous feeling of connectedness to everything. It was a really intense feeling, and it was so influential. I just carried it with me the rest of my life. So I think it was a very pivotal point in my life, to tell you the truth.
It was always in my grandfather's, right next to his bed, so I saw it when I was a little kid. And then after he died, of course I had never read it because I didn't know how to read at the time, or I wouldn't be reading that. After he died, I came across it again when I was around 18. And when I read it, to me, it was like my grandfather talking to me about life after he was gone, and I learned a lot about him through it. But that's another thing about the book, that it's very appealing, that most of us that have read it have the same experience with it, is that every time you read it, you can read it years later, and you find new things in it. And it's the same experience with the film for us. I mean, of course, when you are doing the film, you end up watching it trillions of times.
Right.
And I've had this process before, and there's a point where I get sick of the films and you don't want to watch it anymore because it ruins it for you. And with this film, every time I watch the film, and trust me, we've seen it so many times, it still gives something to me, and something different each time.
I think he talks about matters that are eternal, right? Our children, our lives, our work, facing death, things like that. Those things don't go away. Those are things that we deal with in all of our lives. So I think they're always relevant.
And he does it in a simple way. And it's inclusive to everyone, because I think it's just simple truths that sometimes we don't stop to think about. It's more like not something that we didn't know, but something that it's nice to be reminded of. And because of this, it pretty much includes, it's not offensive to any religion, to any belief. So it is inclusive to every kind of people of many different generations. And I think it's simplicity that makes it very welcome to everyone.
It would have been the farthest thing from my mind to make this into an animated picture. But when someone suggested it to me, I thought, I have to work on this movie.
Yes.
I have to work on this movie. I better get on that movie. I think what really makes animation compelling is when you believe in the characters, and if it's too far gone, you're not going to relate to them. And I think certainly with all of our cast, they've all brought a great liveliness to it and a great caricature to their characters, but they've also tapped into like very real emotion. And I think that's what holds the movie together and gives it its heart.
And also, we got an amazing cast. And to be able to have Liam Neeson do like, you know, silly little things, you know, with the character, which it was important because he's not so earnest, you know, he's funny and original and quirky in moments. And then with the same light spirit, he goes into, you know, the poetry, and you don't feel a big jump. It's not like a shocking, oh, now we're doing poetry. No, he does it so naturally with that extraordinary voice of his. And he's doing comedy and he's reading poetry, and it's seamless, and they've done such, I mean, I think we've done a good job.
I think so too.
We had a good director.
And Liam is wonderful in terms of reciting poetry. I think he should record an album of poetry. You could listen to his voice, but he also, he understands its meaning. He gives it great meaning.
Without depth, being pretentious.
Without being pretentious. It's like butter, like butter.
And then you have, of course, magnificent actors like
Like
Alfred Molina, you know, who's always so funny but always keeps it grounded. And John Krasinski, he did such a great job. And Frank Langella, and
Frank
Claire
Langella.
Genet, who's so magical,
Yeah.
such a magical
so
child.
sweet. And Salma, who
And
just
yes.
jumps off the screen. She really does.